Remember, I don't have my phone to change the colors of the lights, but our lights are on red. So what does that mean for our communication level? 0, right? Where should your focus and attention be? On me. Now, just like we did at the beginning of learning about Egypt and the beginning of learning about Mesopotamia, we're going to start off at Berry Elementary because as of now, Platte Purchase is still a field, right? So we have a good idea of where Berry Elementary is. We are going to see where Greece is compared to Berry Elementary, right? So let's fly to Greece here. Yeah, I wonder if it's because it's thinking that it's on the thing here. All right. So I guess we won't be able to fly to Greece, so I will just take us there. So let's zoom out. Oops. Or zoom in. Let's zoom out. Right? So we're zooming out from Kansas City. Right? We're zooming out.
Making it lag.
Yeah, we're lagging. Okay.
Kansas City is so small compared to.
It really is. Right? So the United States, we're going to fly, we're going to go across the eastern half of the United States. We're going to go across the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to go through the Bering Strait that separates Africa and Europe. We're going to go across the Mediterranean Sea. And then we get to where Greece is, right? So that's a pretty long way. Now, with Greece, I want us to notice a couple of things, and we will have some information that we'll be putting into our grapes chart in just a moment. So, this is the continent of Europe. So all of this is Europe, okay? So Greece is actually a peninsula on Europe. So remember, that's a really good question. A peninsula, and you could go ahead and ask the question.
What's a peninsula?
So a peninsula, remember, is a large body of land that is surrounded by water on 3 sides. So if you look at like Italy, for example, water's on 1 side, water's on 2 sides, water's on 3 sides. If you look at Greece, water's on 1 side, water's on 2 sides, water is on 3 sides. Okay? If you look at this part of Europe, water's on 1 side, water's on 2 sides, water's on 3 sides. Okay? So Greece is a peninsula that's part of a peninsula that's part of Europe. That's going to be important to remember. Okay? So when we think about Greece, the second thing you need to know, Greece is broken up into 3 parts. Okay? There is the Greek mainland. There is something called the Corinthian Isthmus that connects the Greek mainland to the third part, which is called the Greek Peloponnesus. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that a little bit better. Dang it, I'm zooming out when I need to be zooming in and zooming in when I need to be zooming out. Yeah, this is like you all said, it's like Minecraft on a bad day with it's glitching, especially that hand, the grabber hand is like. And let's see, so we've gotten rotated, we're not on center here. We're glitchy pretty bad, so we'll see. I think it is. But, all right. So, we can kind of see it on here, but I'll show us on the map in the back as well. Okay. And then we'll see if we can. No, because we don't want to move. We want to rotate. It's not rotating well. That's okay because we don't want to waste time. All right. So basically, even though the map is sideways, and I'll show it on the map back here, here's what you need to understand. Greek mainland. So all of this right here is the Greek mainland. An isthmus is a political or physical geography term. An isthmus is a little strip of land that connects two bigger pieces of land. So remember how with water you have a strait, which is like a little piece of water that connects two bigger pieces of water? An isthmus is the same thing with land. So this little strip of land right here is called the Corinthian Isthmus. And it connects the Greek mainland to the Greek Peloponnesus. Without this little strip of land, I need everybody's focus and attention up here, please. Turn that off. Not minimize, exit out of it. Without this little piece of land here, the Peloponnesus would be an island. It would be completely surrounded by water. But because of this Corinthian Isthmus, this is actually part of Greece, and it's all connected. Okay? So that's super important for us to know. For your 3-2-1 chart, here's what you need to put into your chart. So there's some information. Now this slideshow is really long, but we're not going to go over the whole slideshow because a lot of it is information that you already had from our AMI day. Okay? So, we have spent some time learning about the physical geography of Greece. You're going to put this stuff into your grapes chart. So, these are the things that you need to put into your grapes chart, and I'll give you time to get this here in a moment. Okay? Greece is made of three parts: the Greek mainland, the Corinthian Isthmus, and the Peloponnesus. That is what we just saw. So you're going to add this bullet point to your grapes chart. Okay? The Greek mainland is actually a peninsula on the continent of Europe, so there's a lot of coastline. You're going to add that to your 3-2-1 chart. The Peloponnesus is almost completely surrounded by water, so there is a lot of coastline. You are going to add that to your 3-2-1 chart. So I'm going to give you some time to get these three things typed into your grapes chart. Okay? Now, like we've said before, research shows that when you write things, it makes connections in your brain and helps you to remember. Writing is the best. Typing is the next best. Copying and pasting doesn't really help you to remember things. So no, even though we have this Google slide on Canvas, I do not want you to copy and paste it over. I want you to type it over because that's going to help you to remember this information better. I'm going to give us some time to get these three things written into our grapes chart. As a reminder, this Google slide is on Canvas. It's on today's classwork. So if you didn't get a chance to get all of this typed in, you can get it from the classwork for today. So this next slide, even though the slideshow is really long, this next slide is the end of our notes for our grapes chart for today. So remember when we watched our drone footage videos, we learned that Greece was very mountainous. There were lots of mountains and things like that. Now, were those mountains kind of sloping and gentle, or were they steep and rocky and jagged? Steep and rocky and jagged, right? And remember, the canyons and cliffs, were they sloping canyons, or were they like fall off a cliff and die sort of canyons? Fall off a cliff and die sort of canyons, right? So, Greece is very rocky, hilly, and mountainous. Here's why that's important. Because Greece was so hilly and rocky and mountainous, it made traveling by land very difficult. It was super hard to get from one place to another on Greece by land. Now, in the year 2025, is that really an issue? Do people in Greece have trouble getting from place to place? No. We have cars that can drive over mountains. We have planes that can fly over mountains. We have helicopters, right? If somebody in one part of Greece on the mainland needed to talk to somebody in the Peloponnesus, they can text them, they can call them, right? But the time we're learning about Greece thousands of years ago, would the mountains and those steep rocky mountains, would that make it hard to travel? Yes. They didn't have airplanes back then. They didn't have cell phones. They couldn't text. They couldn't fly. So, because it was so rocky and hard to travel, and because there was so much coastline, the way people traveled from place to place in Greece was by ship. You didn't even really go by land. And remember when we saw the Greek, like when we saw our drone footage, a lot of you even commented that even today, a lot of the cities are by the ocean. It's because it's so rocky and hard to build inland, okay? So the way people got around in ancient Greece was by ship. So each of these bullet points needs to be in your grapes chart. Greece was very rocky, hilly, and mountainous. We already knew that. But the new part is this made travel and trade by land difficult. Now it's easier, but even today, most trade in Greece is by ship. Back then, it was pretty impossible to get place to place. Since there was so much coastline, most travel was done by ship. That's how people got from place to place to place. Okay? So make sure you get those two things in your grapes chart. I will give you a moment to get that typed in. So with our Google slide presentation, like I told you, this slideshow is really long, but these were our new notes and the new stuff that's going into our grapes chart, right? So I want to show you really quickly what the rest of this Google slide is, and it should look pretty familiar. This slide, honestly, I need to delete that out. Don't worry about this blank slide. But this checklist of things and places to know for Greek geography, this is important. These are all of the things that you are going to be labeling on your map. You will be responsible for knowing all of these places by memory, okay? So you're going to have time to work on this, but you need to be doing some of this at home. The map that I gave you, this is what you're going to kind of be labeling. So the stuff that is here, you will be responsible for knowing, okay? Now, the rest of this Google slide, like I said before, should look pretty familiar. Because if you did that first AMI day, remember this is that slideshow that we did for that AMI day, where it showed a lot of the things that you will need to know for Greece. And then the last page was this map that you kind of clicked and dragged things on. So what we are going to do, everybody should have gotten a blank copy of the map. Is that correct? Okay. So remember, with a map, there are certain things that every map needs to have. So the first thing that every map needs to have is a title. No, thank you, sir. So if we look at our blank map, does it already have a title on it? Yes or no? Yeah, what title does it have? Ancient Greece. Now, is that a complete title? Not really, because it doesn't really tell us what we are doing with this map on ancient Greece. Is this a map of wars in ancient Greece? Is it a map of natural resources in ancient Greece? So we have to finish writing the title for our map. So the title for our map is going to be Geography of. So what I need for everybody to do, right above where it says ancient Greece, you're going to write the words Geography of, right above ancient Greece. So right above where it says ancient Greece, you're going to write Geography of ancient Greece. Yes. Bell's gonna be ringing in about 5 minutes. So, okay. Yes, sir. It's zoomed to a different ratio. But here's a hint. So Calvin, look at the words on your map. Are they right side up or upside down? Thank you for following that procedure. Third hour, we are not ready to pack up yet. I didn't tell us to pack up. We are not done with this map. I realize what time it is, but you didn't hear me tell you to put this map away. Now, the second thing that you need to do with this map, we need to know whose map this is. So what I need for you to do in the upper left-hand corner, you need to write your first name, your last name, and your hour on this map. First name, last name, hour. Once you do that, you may put your map away. That means open your binder to the social studies part. Open the 3 rings to your binder. Put the map in the 3 rings to your binder. Close the 3 rings to your binder. Put your binder away. So you should have geography of ancient Greece, first name, last name, hour on this map, then get it put away.